maybe miracles do exist.
They do exist. Santa?
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up if you want. Today we're diving back into r/NeckbeardStories. It is actually from the subreddit r/NeckbeardStories, but it was also published to my personal subreddit r/ReddXReads, of course, although the one that I will be reading today is the one from r/NeckbeardStories, because, you know, it's got more upvotes. It looks kind of better that way. I guess, whatever. This is another story by user Little Ann Woods. Yes, indeed, our very own patron. She had a story about a game shop neckbeard that she published previously, and I will link that for you in the description if you haven't seen it yet. This is a 3-part series from what I can tell. It might continue on beyond that, but if that's the case, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I definitely hope that you guys will enjoy, so let's go ahead and get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way and get this video started as we dive right into some Neckbeard Stories cringe. A Lamentation of Lavender and Villainy, Chapter 1, Concerning Neckbeards. I have talked about this one quite a bit, so I'm excited to hop into it. TLDR, introduction to a neckbeard with 30 years of experience in inappropriate behavior. An old hand. Quite literally. I apologize in advance for the undoubtedly dozens of writing errors and spelling mistakes. English is not my first language. Also, I'm severely dyslexic. Please do not hesitate to criticize, though. How else am I going to learn? I know that it is a big post, and I am not apologizing for that, because I like it. So do I, OP. Don't apologize for any of that stuff. You're using punctuation, and that's half the battle. The cast. Me, that's OP, 24 at the beginning of this story, grown out of my weeb phase, and a functioning, maybe, working member of society. Lavender Beard, 61 or 62, jeez, at the beginning of this story, and he's been a thorn in my side for the last 3 years. Oh boy. I've been thinking about telling you guys the story of Lavender Beard for a while now. This man has many neckbeard qualities, but there's also a lot that he doesn't have. However, as ReddX often says, it's the beard on the inside that counts. Yes, indeed. We even made t-shirts. Check out Teespring. I will be making a series out of this, given the fact that I have years of incidents and anecdotes to entertain you guys with. Today is my last day at this job. Hallelujah. I don't have any work at the moment, and I finished all my open cases, so I don't really have anything better to do than entertain the wonderful readers of this subreddit. So let us start at the beginning. What was your job? Cases? That sounds like a pretty interesting job already, but I don't want to pry. Part 1, concerning neckbeards. Neckbeards have been living and creeping in the 4 farthings of the globe for many hundreds of years, quite content to ignore and be ignored by the world of the normal folk. The normies, as they call them. Earth being, after all, full of strange creatures, beyond number. Neckbeards must seem of little importance, being neither renowned as great warriors, nor counted among the very wise. In fact, it has been remarked by some that the neckbeard's only real passion is for porn. A rather unfair observation, as they have also developed a keen interest in the denigration of others and the ignoring of boundaries. But where their hearts truly lie is in the wooing of miladies and well-shaped female beards. For it is true that all neckbeards share a love of things that jiggle. And yes, no doubt to others their ways seem quaint, but today of all days, it is brought home to me. It is a bad thing to celebrate A Neckbeard Life. Now, I may not be a very smart man, but I'm pretty sure that's from The Hobbit or something. That's beautiful. God damn. What a way to start it. Our day begins 3 years ago in 2018. It was a special day. I'd been working in a little bookshop for about a year, making just minimum wage and barely scraping by. Today, however, that was going to change. I received a job offer from my local government office, and I, a young and enthusiastic 24-year-old, was ready for a new adventure. It was my first day. Yay! First day on the new job. It always feels great. And then after 2 months, you feel like your soul's sucked out of your body. I walked into the office and was put to work immediately to check the birth certificates of the last year for writing errors or missignatures. It wasn't the most interesting of jobs, but they didn't have the time to train me yet. I started in January, and there was a lot of pressure to complete all of this book that I had by the end of the month. It was boring work, but I needed to concentrate, otherwise I would inevitably miss something. So there I was, sitting in the big back office on a tiny chair with about 20 books, all containing thousands of birth certificates, leaning over each one of them, pencil in hand, sticky notes in the other in case I found an error. Then it hit me. Lavender. I love lavender. It's a wonderful, calming smell. I put a bag of fresh lavender in my closet to give my clothes some of that smell. However, this smell wasn't just overwhelming. It was artificial and just way too much. I looked up to find out where this nasal assault was coming from, and I looked up just in time to see a 60-year-old man plopping into the seat directly next to me and leaning in very closely. Way too closely. He didn't just smell a little like lavender. No. He didn't even smell like he chugged an entire bottle of lavender perfume either. It smelled like he had slept in a cocoon, like in the Matrix, but the amniotic fluid just contained lavender. This man didn't smell of lavender. This man exuded lavender. The smell was overwhelming and just vomit-inducing. I have to say, since I met this beardo, I have developed a disgust for it, which is sad because it used to be one of my favorite smells. I really don't know what's worse, a beard that smells like a garbage dump or a beard that actually smells somewhat decent maybe, but also ruins one of your favorite smells. It's interesting how close we tie smells to memories and stuff like that. This dude has probably ruined lavender for a lot of people. Lavender Beard was a 60-plus-year-old man. He was pretty young looking for his age, and he also didn't have the circumference that one usually finds in a neckbeard. He's slim, about 6 feet tall, with white/grayish hair and tiny eyes. Neither is he badly dressed. His beardiness is almost exclusively on the inside. He introduced himself as Lavender, obviously not his real name, and then he decided to tell me why he is the most amazing person I will ever meet. It was my first day, so I was very polite. He seemed just like a lonely old man that didn't have anyone else to talk to. I mean, not really to, but at. He told me that he was a true artist, that he hated his job here and would love to do something else. When asked why he didn't just look for another job, he shrugged and said something to the effect of, I wouldn't give the higher-ups the satisfaction. Okay, bro. Keep working a job you hate out of spite. Doesn't seem like the smartest move. He gestured to his paintings around the office, telling me that you could clearly see how amazing his craftsmanship was. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background information about myself. I have a bachelor's as a high school teacher. My specializations are the arts dance, and the visual arts, painting, sculpting, drawing, etc., music, and multimedia, I have learned to ooh and ah at the most terrible artwork. However, I'm used to doing this to like 12 to 18-year-olds, not grown men. Retirement age men at that. His work was definitely special. It's not that it looked like the doodles of a 5-year-old, but I could probably compare them to about a 5-minute sketch done by a middle schooler. You could tell what it was that he had drawn or painted, but that was about it. Sounds like we got another art beard on our hands. I would love to see some of these drawings if it wouldn't dox him in any way. Is that possible? Can we do that? I'm gonna ask in the Discord. Here, however, is where I made my first mistake. Not only did I indulge his never-ending word vomit, I told him about my degree. That instantaneously made us kindred spirits. I was a fellow creative. Oh, God, as he called himself. He continued talking to me about himself for the next 2 hours. Ugh. I couldn't continue my work, and he had even moved a lot of the books away from me so he could show me his latest satirical photoshopped picture. Yeah, not only was he a creative soul, he also saw himself as a freedom fighter against the big man up high. God, Photoshop is my weapon. Yeah, okay. So, of course, he had made the most satirical post that he could think of. Our boss and leading alderman's faces photoshopped onto babies. Ah, yes, the highest of satire. See, he said, we're controlled by babies who can't even wipe their own butts. Yeah, Lavender, I got that. Clever. You are indeed a creative genius. God, this is so funny. I know it's probably going to get creepier, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Lavender also told me during this meeting about his type 1 diabetes. He showed me a patch on his arm and the monitor that he always had in his pocket, which was attached to his groin, which told him at any time of the day how high or low his blood sugar was. And this is a little item that will come back into the story later. Now, talking my ear off for what felt like a century, I was finally rescued by a colleague who told Lavender to go back to his seat and actually do some work for once. He did, for all of 5 minutes. Then he got back up, went over to another coworker, and started jabbing John again. Luckily, I was safe, at least for now. I learned very quickly that Lavender was not well liked. He had been working within government for over 30 years. They had bounced him from department to department. No one wanted him. He wasn't only constantly disturbing his fellow colleagues, he was also majorly incompetent. He may have thought that he was the most intelligent being on the planet, but the little work that he did actually do had to be redone by someone else when Lavender was finished with it. I also started hearing very disturbing rumors about him. Apparently, he wasn't just a lonely guy that wasn't very aware of personal space and what appropriate topics were. In fact, he knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, at 60 years old, I would hope so, but also that makes him a hell of a lot more cringy than just like a clueless high school beardo. You know what I mean? This is not good. Like I said, I think it's gonna get creepy. He liked testing to see how far he could go and what he could get away with. And he literally told this to me verbatim. According to some of my colleagues, he had been written up for more than one count of sexual harassment. It just never went anywhere. See, Lavender Beard had tenure. Ah, good old tenure. Still does, by the way. In my country, it is very hard to fire a civil employee. It's even harder to fire a tenured civil employee, which is probably why they stopped giving people tenure. It was just simply too costly to fire him. So instead, they just shoved him from one department to the next until the complaints there got too big, and then they just ship him off to another one, and so on and so forth. In the 3 years that I worked here, he has worked in 3 different departments, and presumably failed at each and every one of them. Unfortunately, we did still share the same back office, given the fact that the other departments work closely with ours. I luckily never had the pleasure of working with him directly. Thank the heavens. Maybe miracles do exist. Over the next 2 months, Lavender talked a lot about his art, him, his photographs of animals having sex. Whoa. Wind it back. What? And then some more about him. And then also his monstrous ex-wife, who was the devil incarnate and left him for no reason. He cheated on her, I later learned from a coworker. More about him and also his diabetes and also more about him. You get the gist. He'd also taken to telling me the reading of his diabetes monitor every day. He'd ask me, "How are you?" And I'd say, "Great, how are you?" And he would tell me how high or low his blood sugar was. He also started making comments, uncomfortable comments about my body. Oh, here we go. At the time, I was a bit of a gym rat. I had a nice figure, but his comments went further than just, "You look nice." They bordered on harassment, but they were never so bad that I felt that I actually had to report it. He never stopped doing this, by the way. I spent the last 2 years in a wheelchair. With this and COVID, I have gained quite a few kilos. I'm not overweight, but now that the COVID numbers are finally going down, and I'm slowly starting to walk again, I will be applying for a new gym membership soon, which she has talked about in my Discord, and I'm proud to take the gym journey with you. I'm also trying to make myself strong. Anyway, even when I was in my wheelchair, he'd still make comments. If I was talking to a coworker about the fact that I gained weight because of my wheelchair, he'd say things like, "At least you fill in all the right places." Or a little more sophisticated version of, "I'd still do ya." Which I find hard to translate into English. The comments never stopped, no matter how clear I made it that they were not welcome. Because he knows he can't get fired, because he's tenured. Oh, what a mess, man. All this innocent yet uncomfortable and annoying behavior eventually came to its first climax in my 3rd month here. It was the afternoon, and I was getting my stuff to go to the cafeteria. I was doing something, I don't remember what, but it took me a while. And when I looked up, Lavender and I were the only ones left in the back office. Uh-oh. He usually asked me how I was. He did this literally every time he saw me, multiple times a day. I answered with my usual, "I'm still fine, how are you?" And he told me his blood sugar, and then he started walking towards me. See, now, I was looking in a closet in the corner of the room because that's where all my stuff was. And he was still talking about his diabetes and telling me about the monitor and the insulin pump that were directly inserted into his body. Keep in mind, I had never asked. He eventually stopped walking when my nose was almost in his shirt. I froze. What in the hell was he doing? I couldn't respond, and a nauseating fear started to creep through me. And then it got worse. Ugh. He started undoing his belt. Ugh. He told me his pump was inserted into his groin, and he wanted to show me. Oh my god! Oh, fucking hate it! This 6-foot-tall, 60-year-old man was cornering me. Panic raced through my head. I'm 5 feet tall, and I weigh almost nothing. And this man, this fucking neckbeard, was pulling his pants down while I could not run away. He opened up his belt and started to unzip his pants, slowly pulling both his pants and his underwear down. Oh god, Yes, make it stop. And that's when I saw my salvation. Under Lavender's armpit, I saw Lavender's friend. Let's call him David, as much as anyone can be friends with this beard, pass by the hallway door. Oh, God bless you, David. I've never been so happy to see anyone. Holy shit. I scraped up what little courage I could muster and cheerily yelled, "Hey, David, you here to pick up Lavender for lunch?" David stepped into the back office, and Lavender turned around, giving me a brief opportunity to squeeze right past him. Lavender was just standing there with his pants down, oh, God, and sheepishly said, "I was showing OP my diabetes implant." David said nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they left together to eat, not even mentioning what had happened. Maybe David isn't as good a guy as I thought, but he did save your bacon, even if by accident. Holy shit, man. I told you it was gonna get nasty. Boy, did it. What I haven't mentioned is that David was looking into the back office when he walked by. He saw what was happening. And I think that if I had not addressed him directly, he would have just kept walking. Ugh. I don't know if this is just a generational thing of like, hear no evil, see no evil, but this isn't going to be the last time that one of these 60-plus-year-old coworkers acted like this or did the harassing themselves. I was still shaking, and I just bolted to the office across the hall where I knew my direct supervisor was eating. I told him everything that had happened. He was shocked, as I think all of us are, and he promised me that this would be handled. Well, I never heard about it again. Until last Friday. Me and my supervisor were having a farewell interview, and I brought up the incident. He told me that he took it to the higher-ups, called everyone together, even the person directly under the mayor. This woman, whom I came to despise, and was very happy to see her retire last year, had this to say to my supervisor. "Women today have no backbone. She just needs to create some thicker skin. It's no big deal." See? What the hell is it with this generation? They're the greatest generation. Nah, the greatest generation's like 90. I think they're the boomers, aren't they? Yeah. What the hell's wrong with them? And that was it. Case closed. There was no file made. My complaint wasn't even registered. And Lavender, this fucking creep, totally got away with it. This too will be a recurring theme throughout this series of Beard Tales. So this was, for me, the biggest incident with Lavender. It was far from the last, but it was the only time that he truly frightened me. I will, however, continue this expose of cringe, because I will not only regale you with songs of my own woes, but also those of my coworkers. For in fact, this beard preyed upon all that had not yet come to be 40. So, until the next chapter. Holy balls and a half, man. Coming out of the gate swinging. You want to get me hooked into a saga of beard stories? Come out of the gate swinging like this. This is some heavy cringe. At first, I thought maybe he was just a doofy beard, but you described that he knew exactly what he was doing. And yes, he showed that he knew exactly what he was doing. Totally ready to take advantage of a young girl in the back office under the guise of diabetes. At least he's not using autism as a shield. But he is using diabetes as a shield. Jesus Christ, dude. And the fact that everybody knows and just kind of lets him get away with it. I mean, I'm already skeptical of people who work in government, particularly politicians, but it's starting to seem more and more to me like any government building that you walk into is just a swirling portal to hell. Demons walk the halls, man. This is absolutely wild. Couple more parts of Lavender Beard to go, and I am going to get into them. This part kind of scarred me, man. Started out with like, haha, he sucks at painting, and ended with like, oh my god, why is he taking his pants off? What the fuck? OP does say that this is the worst of the incidents, but ooh, gave me both barrels right out of the gate. I'm sure there will be some more impotent rage to come, and I do hope that you guys will join me for it. Whew. Don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe on this video if you did enjoy it in some form or fashion. Maybe share it around if you should like. It's a very niche audience, but I'm sure the audience is out there. Also, check out them links in the description. All kinds of plugs and stuff down there. Also, my social medias, Twitter, Discord, Facebook. Oh, and my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. And I'd like to thank them like I do every video, so thank you very much. Calvicus, Fatboy Shrimp, Robert Waits, TSM Kirby, Aaron W, Twisted Child, Delicious Jelly Donut, Candy Sora, Fire Drake, Liverson, Mr. Anime Manga Fan, Silent Revolver, Zero MMX, Magdalene Marshall Thorn Rose, Little Lone Wolf, Vanilla Mel, Rousetower, Satori, Babsy Caustic Fox, Disposable Waifu, Aaron Lennox, Fisher Diggy, Hadrian BR, Heathcliff, OG James Cook, a pimp named Jay Crisp, JM Coon, Jerry, John Hero, Miss Monday, Lord Lion-O, Jackets Rule, Melgar the Destroyer, Mirthful Baker, Mr. J, my boy Nat One Nick, Lady Nix, Origami Steve, Katykins Elizabeth, Sidestep, Cider Drinker, Serrated Ass, Siegfried, Synaptic Boomstick, Brilliant Tamago, Tato Fair, Teddy the Police, 10-Ton Monster, That Duck and Bug, The One True Fusky, Treeberg, Wilmags, Redwind, Goose as Onk, Leon Embers, Naga Viper, John Indoors, A Normal Joe, Amara, A-Roxers, Cake Jerry, that's a different Jerry. Cinnamon Bunny Dog, KJW, Kajow, Crafty Kitty Cat, Little Ann Woods, oh, our OP for this story. Thank you ×2, Little Ann Woods, Mark 211, maybe next time, Milk-Fed Gimp, Miss Duchess, Origami Cam, Princess Rosalie, Ghosty, Raptor Art, Steampunk Ellie, The Last Shinobi, and the Necrobomicon. You guys rock so much for making my dreams come true, supporting me on that Patreon, putting your money where your mouth is. It does mean the world. I hope some other people will consider joining up, but if you can't do it right now, don't sweat it too hard, friends. I mostly appreciate you just coming on through and hanging out with me, and I hope that you'll come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today, like watching some more ReddX videos. Totally. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I shall see you in the next one. And until then, bye!